This is Sports Drive.
All right, welcome back into the Sports Drive, everyone. I now have with me quarterback at West Texas A&M, Kyle Brown. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for coming on. I know probably very busy with summer and everything, so kind of just want to start off, how's your summer been? How excited are you, to finally get back to school, football start this fall?
I'm real excited. All of us are real excited for the season start and can't wait for it to be here.
So what all have y'all been doing this summer?
Lift every morning, and then I have a quarterback meeting in about an hour, and then we're going to throw later tonight. So.
Okay, awesome. Well, kind of want to bring you on a little bit to talk about, you stepping into that quarterback position and then obviously the upcoming season this year. Everyone's super excited. It just seems like football season, every week we're like, oh, it's 50 days away, and then it's like 52 days away. I mean, it's just insane. So very excited about that. So obviously you're a redshirt sophomore, you're redshirted your freshman year. You got to see, some game time last year in your redshirt freshman year. So now going into this season, you were behind Nick Gerber a lot last season. What did you really learn though, being that second man to Nick these past 2 years?
It's kind of weird. It's a weird jump from like being the guy in high school to like then coming to here and like sitting behind Nick. I think it like kind of helped me like see the game in like a different point of view, like going from playing and just like stepping back and just like watching like from game planning and just like watching how Nick played and like how the offense works in like a college level, for instance. But I think it's going to help me this upcoming year.
So you went to Vista Ridge, it's near Austin, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So kind of how was that transition, I guess? I know you've already been here 2 years, but how was that transition from high school to college football?
They aren't lying when they say the game's faster. Everybody was the dude in high school. Everybody's a good player, and the game moves just a tad faster than in high school.
Absolutely. So, obviously not even just skill-wise or just looking at Nick at the quarterback position, but taking over quarterback, you're kind of just the leader on the field. You're the leader in the locker room. You're a leader to the team. So we saw that a lot with Gerber, this past season. So did you see any, things you picked up from him in that aspect rather than just skill-wise?
Definitely like lead by example. Nick never missed anything, was always there early, did everything he was supposed to do, and was just like, I always called him the face of WT. But just be that guy, be a guy that everyone can talk to, and just do everything you're supposed to do.
So this year, obviously under new leadership with Josh Lynn there, and then you're getting to step out, into this position. So how has that just kind of been, the transition with coaching-wise?
This has been weird, like going from one whole coaching staff that like recruited me here to like a whole different coaching staff. But I love the new coaches. I love what they're bringing to Canyon. All of them are very, very smart, and I think we're gonna have a real good year, and I think we're gonna shock a lot of people.
That's awesome. I can't wait. I'm super excited. So you mentioned that that they brought a lot of new things to Canyon. What are some of those things that they're implementing that might be different?
Well, they're definitely bringing players, which is helpful. It's always good to have new faces, more competition. I like the new offense that Coach Kaiser and Coach Lynn are bringing. I think it's going to make us really explosive and definitely give the ball to our playmakers on the outside.
So some of those new players, what kind of roles did you think that need to be filled that some of those players that they brought in have really just filled this offseason?
They brought in his name's Jimmy. He's a real good linebacker, and then they're signing a bunch of OLs, and as you know, we need good OLs for the offense to score some points. They brought in a good amount of quarterbacks too, which is always good to strengthen the quarterback room. But they're bringing a lot of good athletes, and they're definitely going to help.
And not just them, but you have a new signing class as well. Have you got a chance to kind of mingle with them a little bit?
Yeah, I've talked to. There's a few quarterbacks here, and we're all getting along well. I love talking to the younger guys, trying to help the transition be a little easier. Because I know for some guys, the transition from high school to college, a little rocky, can be scary. But just try to be a friendly face and be nice to everyone.
Absolutely. I do have to ask kind of a fun question. I know, so you got a new jersey reveal. How do you feel about the jerseys?
Oh, I love the jerseys. We would always ask the old coaching staff to get us a new jersey, so we're quite happy that we got a new gray jersey. It looks pretty sweet.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now kind of heading into the season a little bit, you got an off season, some spring games, some spring practices under your belt in this new role. I mean, what do you think it's going to take, especially this season, for you to just kind of fully develop, fully step into that role come game time? I mean, September 2nd.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's definitely coming fast. I felt like spring, like in the past with like Nick and some of the older guys, it was hard to get like those reps. So like this spring and the spring game, just to help get my feet underneath me, play football again for the first time since high school. But yeah, it's coming fast, and I can't wait.
So when do y'all officially start, I guess, real practice?
I wish I could tell you the exact date. I wish I could tell you, but I just go where they tell me to go. But it's gonna be here soon enough.
Absolutely. So Western Colorado, Adams State at home. That's the first home game, September 9th. Obviously the LSC. So kind of tidbit, funny thing here. I was chatting with Ruby Salzman. She played softball there at WT, and had an interview with her, and she said, the LSC is like the SEC of Division II in any sport. And I said, you know what? I never made that comparison, but you're right. I'm a big SEC girl because I'm from Georgia. But so, obviously tough competition there. Kind of, I know you mentioned that it was kind of hard, but you got to see a lot from the bench, see behind Nick, got to see the game, got to experience that aspect of it. What do you think we can expect from some of these LSC opponents, coming up this season?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There is not any sort of not great team in our conference. Every single week we're going to have to, bring our A game, or they're going to give it to us, But yeah, that is a perfect comparison as the SEC.
Yes, no. When she said that, I was like, absolutely, I see that 100% around every sport. But kind of going back a little bit to the new coaching staff and Coach Lynn, kind of coming in there and being the helm of WT football. I know I see all over Twitter. I've heard him say it multiple times. His slogan, here we come. What has just kind of been the environment and culture, not even just on the football field, but in the locker room? Like, is there a new momentum? Kind of tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we actually talked about it today after workouts that, sometimes when a new coaching staff comes in, there's considered like a buffer year, or like, oh, we'll take this year and then come back the next year. There ain't no buffer year here. We're coming and we're ready to play.
That's awesome. And kind of a little bit more on your transition a little bit, from high school to college there. Honestly, I kind of lost my train of thought. But Kyle, we're very excited for football season coming up this season. Western Colorado, at Colorado, you kind of scout them out a little bit?
We've been starting to talk about them a lot, and we'll be ready for them. We're excited, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun year.
That's awesome. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for joining and chatting with us a little bit here on the Sports Drive. Super excited for WT football coming up this year. Just any sport, honestly. Summers, can be a little slow, but thank you again for coming on and chatting with us. Have fun at the quarterbacks meeting this afternoon, and we'll definitely chat, coming closer to the season.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and we'll be right back on the Sports Drive.